Okay. And we are live.
Okay, I call this meeting of the Archaeological Review Committee of November 10th, 2022 to order. To get us started, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Chair X, Jackson, Member Pierce,
Present?
Member Wands. Member Zinn.
Yeah.
There is a quorum present.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda would be the approval of the agenda. Carly, any changes?
No chair.
Members of the committee? Member Wong?
No.
Member Zinn? Oh, no. In that case, a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda. Second. Member Pierce,
Oh, yes, sorry. Aye.
Member Wands, Member Zinn. The motion has been approved.
Thank you. Next item would be the approval of minutes for the minutes of October 6th, 2022. Carly, any last minute changes there?
None from staff.
Okay, then we'll hear from committee members. Number one,
I had no comment.
None for me.
I have nothing either. So in that case, we'll entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
It's second.
I gave it.
Can't pull it off.
We have a motion and a second, so could we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Member Wands.
Aye.
Member Zinn.
Yes.
Chair Pierce.
Yes,
The motion has been approved.
thank you. Next item would be matters from the floor. We have no floor, but anybody on the, out there in the virtual world?
I just one question, because at the H board meeting the other night, I want to ask Melissa. The members announced their name before they made a motion. Does that help you? I mean, this is pretty easy. But is that something you would care to have done? Who's making the motion?
No, not for the small.
But that's fine. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Just, I thought that was good that they did
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, because sometimes it's harder to tell. Thank you.
That was it, Mr. Chair.
Good, thank you. Any other matters from the floor, anything from, okay. Moving on then, next item would be old business, which we had none. So, new business, moving on to the first case. Case 22-6021 ARC, Ron Winters, agent for design ingenuity, requesting approval of an archaeological survey and inventory for 3.1 acres at a Arroyo Weste development in Tierra Contenta. We would begin with the proponent. Ron, do you have anything to let us know?
Yes.
Please.
Do you swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
Ron Winters, 109 Cayupala, Santa Fe, New Mexico, 87505. Yeah. You ready?
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
So, I'm aware of all, when Nicole presented about the different phases and, of this area and clearance and all. I was contacted and surveyed this single tract, or the housing tract. So I don't really get into all of that, but I did have some concerns for numerous reasons, and you probably saw them yourself as we went along, so I'll go through these quickly. For one thing, there was no site map for the LA 54754 as they had for the other sites recorded. And I had the question that they made 6 artifacts into a site in a 1,200 square meter area. I think I would have, because I didn't have a site map, I couldn't say, well, you could group these as an IO and these as an IO. Yeah. The other thing is, I don't know anything about IOs because the IOs were collected. It states in the report. So I thought that was interesting. They didn't collect this site, but they collected, which I think was it led to its demise. And I'll say that in a second. I took the UTMs in NAD 27 and NAD 83 to show that the site center was basically in the middle of the Plaza Central Road. And you see that photo in there, and which was 45 meters from the site center to the northwest boundary of the project area. And it's my belief that the construction of the road most likely destroyed the site. But there was no evidence of it. The other thing that was a little unusual was the city sanctioned stockpile of the rock and soil over the entire super portion of the site. And I asked my client, what do you mean city sanctioned? It wasn't clear to me, and it's still not, whether that was their doing or they just permitted the landowner to stockpile the pile of dirt. Well, then, because of that, then I also found illegal, piles of asphalt and, building materials, but all really that was untouched were the perimeters, of that. One other point I'll make was that even in Hannaford's report, it was recommended as not significant, no further work. But, I tried my best to find any evidence of it and nothing. And,
It's probably cleared if it was considered not significant.
yeah,
If it was-
yeah. So anyway, that's my shoe.
Okay. Thank you, Ron. Committee members, members in.
Don't have anything except for, I guess it's good to collect the IRS. I have nothing further, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, member one.
The only thing I noticed was, how you said all the stockpiles are there. That kind of changes your very good ground visibility.
Oh. True, I hadn't looked at it that way. I could see, oh.
Yep.
Good point, Wendy. Not good visibility.
Anything else?
That was it.
And I have no comment, either, Ron, so I guess, then we're ready for a motion.
I need for approval of this bid. I don't have a number. Oh, 0006021, yeah. As, with that one small correction about the site visibility.
Okay, do we have a motion, second?
Second.
Okay, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, members in?
Yeah.
Member Juan?
Yes.
Chair Pierce?
Yes,
The motion has been approved.
very good, thank you, Ron.
See you next
Thanks.
month. You're right.
Back to my agenda now. Okay, next case we have on the docket is case 6022, Office of Archaeological Studies. Agent for 2 men, 1 cable, request approval of an archaeological monitoring plan for the installation of 2,300 feet of conduit at Lorca, St. Nicholas Drive, and Plaza del Sur in a suburban archaeological review district. We have Eric Flinman here representing tonight. Would you please swear him in?
Yes, you swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
Eric Linman, BLINMAN. Address is 7 Old Cochiti Road, Santa Fe, 87507.
Thank you.
The floor is yours, Eric. What do you have to tell us about this problem?
Let's see, Karen sends her regrets. She also, sent me an inventory of typos. Page 34 has 2. She knows they're there. If there's anything more than those 2 that anyone has noted, please.
I just had a question about the format.
Yeah, and, ask the question.
But we're going on with the formatting because some paragraphs are indented, some aren't. There is no spacing between paragraphs, so it's kind of hard to read. They all kind of were like that.
I will convey that to her. I have actually had the same problem with some of her manuscripts that you have. There are extenuating circumstances in Karen's life right now. So, but I will convey, in fact, we will make the formatting corrections in this before we with the final version of that.
So- Sorry.
That's fine, no. I remember back in the good old days when we were. All right. But otherwise, this is, you know, a boring project and urban.
More than one line.
Is that all, Dr. Bowman?
That's all I have.
Very good, very good. Then we'll move on to number one.
As I've mentioned, the formatting was a little, and then, in terms of boring, I was concerned at first, but it seems like, it's this number 2 and number 3, given the previous work, that makes sense. That was all, that was my 2 cents.
Thank you. Member Zen?
I don't even have to, so I have no comment.
I'm short 2 cents as well. No comment.
I can love you. Too.
I think it's clear.
Yeah, I know, I was. Nothing here, so, in that case, we can entertain the motion, please.
I move approval of 6022 ARC as submitted with potential formatting changes. Nothing substantial.
Thank you. Motion,
A second?
could we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, member Wong.
Aye.
Member Zinn.
Yeah,
Chair Pierce.
Yes,
The motion has been approved.
thank you, Eric. I think you're up for the next case too.
I appear to be up for the next case as well. The first and most glaring error that Karen didn't even catch when she put the wrong photo on the front page.
I wondered about that. I thought they were identical between cases. I thought that was just a standard cover sheet.
so lazy with that.
So she has provided me with a replacement aerial photo of the correct project area that will go into the real thing. She identified typos on 5 different pages and has corrected them in the version that I have. Any additional suggestions? I didn't.
Dr. Glennon,
Yeah.
I guess I should back up for just a second. I didn't actually read off that we had moved on to the next case.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so particularly for our stenographer. So we are moving on to case 6023 ARC. Office of Archaeological Studies, again, 2 men and 1 cable, request approval for an archaeological monitoring plan of 1,476 feet of conduit at Calle Romolo, Camino Cruz Blanca, and Camino Cabra in the suburban district. And with that, Dr. Glenn, you can pick up again, please.
Let's see, it's, much of this area was already bored with the Frontera project that our office did a while back. The most interesting thing that I recall from that project was that a brand new city bus station was placed right on top of it and wiped out a beautiful little columnar canyon. But no, got nothing to add. I'm willing to hear any suggestions you have. And this format, no, it didn't formatting again.
It's mostly good and then it changes.
Google Docs one.
No, we're not sophisticated.
Okay, Dr. Moon, if that's all, then we'll move on to comments from the committee members. Members in?
I have no comments, except for I get this confused by the field. That's it. Sure. Go on.
Okay, number 1.
We already talked about the formatting, so no comments.
I have, well, 2 things, but I think I'll save one for matters from the committee, because it's more a question for us than for you. But for your part, I'm looking at figure 2, not that that is required, but I did notice that on this boring project, there's quite a bit of open ground with 100% visibility.
Yes.
I think this is part of your standard operating procedure anyway, but just to say it explicitly, I think survey before the disturbance begins would be a good idea.
I concur.
I had that as well, and I missed it.
Very good. That's all I have. So if there's nothing else, then we'll entertain a motion for this case.
Approval of 6023, as submitted, with formatting changes to the code.
Second.
Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Member Zinn.
Yep.
Member Juan,
Yes.
Chair Pierce,
Yes.
the motion has been approved.
Okay, thank you. Then, I think at this point, we'll take a pause and I can yield the floor to Chair Heck, who just arrived. If you-
I know you had a quorum, I would have just. I'm sorry, but I was convinced all day that it was Wednesday.
Well, totally different reason than all of us.
Everyone else was convinced that it was. everyone convinced it, so.
Oh, so we just wrapped up case 6023.
Okay, so we're ready for. Item number 4, new business, 2022-6025, Office of Archaeological Studies, agent for Cablecom requests approval of an archaeological monitoring plan for the installation of approximately 2,000 feet of fiber optic cable at Hyde Park Road and Cerros Colorados and the River and Trails Archaeological Review District. I remember seeing the staff report. Anything to add to that?
New chair.
Thank you.
That's what I forgot. You know, well, hopefully you didn't have anything on those.
House time.
Yeah, essentially.
Dr. London.
Let's see, I think I have not reviewed my own work for typos. So I apologize for that, but I think I did get the formatting
You did.
better. This is, I walked this whole route 3 different times. Actually, 4 different times. You can't just walk 3 different times.
Somebody picks you up, you can.
And this is a little scary, and it was wonderful when I actually got into the literature search to see that PNM is going to be running a trench up the entire exact same right of way, dodging the exact same 4 or 5 other utilities that have already been put in a space that often is no wider than this room. And so my recommendation on this for boring is that monitoring will accomplish nothing. And if anything is going to be accomplished, it would be with some sort of monitoring of the PNN trench, that they've already done the service and they found absolutely nothing. And Jim Workically, I don't think that you expect anything. The bottom is that.
Okay. Committee members, number 1.
Given that it has already been surveyed in its entirety, and it's going in on top of utility lines, that makes sense.
Yeah, the rule is monitoring in lieu of survey. Here we have survey, so there's nothing to be in lieu of. Yeah, that's all.
Members in 5. I will attest that I had numerous sticky notes, typos and other things, but the contention to those, because I don't have any idea when that happened.
Well, but there were numerous.
I want to say.
Okay. Then I will search for 5.
Move for approval of 6025 as submitted with the understanding that the typos will be corrected.
I'll second the motion.
Moved and seconded, roll call vote, please.
Member Pierce.
Yes.
Member Juan.
Aye.
Member Zinn.
Yes.
The motion has been approved.
Thank you. Next item is case number 2022-5940. SWCA, agent for PNM, requests approval of an archaeological monitoring plan for installation of 8,165 feet of conduit at Foothills Road and Altozano Drive and the River and Trails and Suburban Archaeological Review District. Anything to add to the staff report?
No chair.
Do we have anyone from the studies here?
We're moving him over to Pamela. Robin, do we have you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Welcome, Robin. The floor is yours as soon as you get sworn in and all that good stuff.
Okay, do you swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Robin Cordero, 404 14th Street, Southwest, and that is Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87102.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Robin.
This is going to be a pretty straightforward monitoring plan. The P&M is planning on boring the majority of the project area. We will be monitoring the boreholes and also any splice pits that they put in. But yeah, I don't have any other comments to add to this.
All right, we'll move to the committee and see if anybody has questions. Members in, have questions? Thank you. Member Pierce.
Well, just an overall comment, I guess. Some of the graphics, your cartography products, your maps, could be a little more informative if the project area was plotted more closely, so that you can see it relative to the graphic that's underneath it. For instance, figure 1 shows you where some of the pulpits are, but it's not on a topo map or a background or anything that I can relate it to. And well, the same with figure 4. So yeah, it required a little bit more going back and forth between figures to try to figure out where the actual project area was. So I think more could be done there next time. But the other related issue I had was in a previous case, and I told the proponent, hey, it looks like there's open ground there, you guys should survey. In here, I don't have an aerial photograph that I can look at to make that call. So having the area, your project area plotted on aerial photo would be helpful.
Understood.
But based on just where it is and what I can see on a USGS topo map, it looks like it's likely that there is undisturbed ground with good visibility. So if that is the case, then I would recommend that somebody walk the alignment prior to disturbance.
I will add that to our scope.
Okay, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek, and thank you for adding that, Robin. Number 1.
I noticed a couple of typos. Page 19, Schick is spelled wrong. Page 22, instead of area, it's R under NIMCRIS 44106. Sorry, I have sticky notes, so I can't put you exactly. And page 22, NIMCRIS, I think 83550, you have a ash stone in the site description, and I'm pretty sure that's not correct. Then my other question is, you say that Ryan Brucker will be running the field part of the project. Is he permitted?
He is not permitted. I will be supervising.
So you will also be
I will
out
be
there?
on site. Yes, that was an oversight on the part of the person who prepared this. I took this over the day after the report this was submitted. Or the day before this was submitted. So yeah, I will be supervising directly.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Robin. Number 1's nailed it. I have nothing to add. Somebody can make a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve case 5940, archaeological monitoring on Foothills Road with, the minor corrections and the stipulation that, a permitted archaeologist be on site for the field work.
Moved and seconded, roll call vote, please.
Member Pierce,
Yes,
member Wong.
Yes.
Member Zinn. The motion has been approved.
Thank you, Robin. You can-
Indeed. Thank you too.
All right. Next item on the agenda, administrative matters and communication.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you all for being flexible for the location and the mishap, last week on the packets. Feels like it's, that kind of couple weeks. But here we are in council chambers. We will be here next year, all year. It's going on the clerk's calendar. It's been populating. Throughout the last week or so. But for December, we will be back over in the convention center, so. And we may race back over here to just double check. But this might be my last meeting for a little while. I'll be taking a leave of absence. But our next hearing is on the 1st of December, so I may or may not be in that one. And then Nicole will be in the sky here. Amanda will set up and stuff. And that's how we'll be doing it. If we need to, we may see Heather pop in, but assistant land use director. Let's see. We're still working on the hiring of the last senior planner. Generally working through a backlog of documentation work. So if you notice, there's items coming, coordination pieces from our division that are trickling along. But that's, I think that really does it for staff side communication. Oh, and congratulations.
Yeah, I'll be officially amongst the unemployed in a few days.
Thanks, what?
that cool. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, 1 December,
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Maybe.
a lot will be yet to be defined. We'll just take one bridge at a time and burn them But I must say, I'm looking forward to meeting with such Karen.
Ah.
We have to. Okay, matters from the committee.
I did have one thing. So in our second case tonight, I've looked at the aerial photograph that OAS's project area on it, you could clearly see sand and dirt and trees and stuff. So I asked for additional survey. I think that they do that all the time anyway, OAS does, but I don't know that we've
It's been their
ever,
habit.
I don't know we've ever explicitly said that when we asked for additional survey, what do you do as the consultant on the ground, right? If you find something on the surface, do you record it as if it were a discovery? What happens if it looks like it has subsurface and you're about to plow through it? I don't know we've ever said that.
We have.
We haven't.
So,
Darn good question, because if you see something that tips you off, it would be irresponsible to plow through it and say, we monitored.
Yep.
yeah, and it's all fine and well if the pole that happens to be right there in that area, but if the site is halfway between two of them, what is the obligation as the consultant? I don't know that we've ever addressed it, so it's not something we need to solve tonight,
Right.
but maybe stick around.
I
Either
think-
for a revision of the code or like a policy.
Yeah. I think in my mind, I always thought that automatically triggered monitoring in that area, but that may have just been me I think that's me in my head.
Yeah, that's what I thought last night. Yeah.
Progression.
Yeah.
Almost like it's
Stop to think that there was no definition.
maybe we took granted up until the
I think
point.
you're right.
Last night the light bulb was on.
Well, I'm glad. The electricity is still there.
It's intermittent, you know, old houses have that problem.
That's why I picked up those IOs on. Lawns, because they were there. And knew they were gonna get piles of work on top. And maybe they just.
Oh, there, yeah, could be.
But sometimes on private property,
Yeah.
the private, the owner will
Well, that-
ask you to collect for them,
It's $6 at the beginning.
which can happen on private
No.
property.
Your even if nothing had happened, the chances of finding it again and defining it the same way are pretty low anyway.
Anything else? Anything else from committee? We'll move to item 5.
For general.
A second,
Roll call vote, please.
Member Pierce,
yes.
member Juan.
Yes.
Member Zoom.
Yes.
The motion is approved.
We're adjourned.